Hello, everybody. Thanks for being on. As you get on, just go ahead and type in the chat box that you are here and say hello, so I know that you're here with us tonight. Thanks again for spending some time on Tuesday night with us to chat. We're going to talk a little bit about month 9, where we are. We're going to talk about some mindset stuff. It's going to be really good. So hopefully some of you guys are able to make it on. Good. There's Jillian and Bethany. Can you say hi? You have to say it. Hi. Hi. Did everyone hear Sydney say hi? She's really excited to say hello. So hopefully you can hear her. Okay. Night, baby. I love you. She's so cute. Okay, cool. So thank you for saying hi to her. She is really only likes the video ones. So yeah, I'm sure a few more people will hop on because it's just now 8:15. So yeah, so let's get started tonight. How are you guys doing? Everybody good? Good. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so what are we going to do tonight? So we're going to talk some mindset stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about where we are, where we're headed, and I just really want to just kind of bring everybody back together, because what happened was in Business Mail Baby at the beginning, I was doing like trainings in the live trainings, and I feel like it was just very overwhelming, and it was like a lot of, oh my God, what's going on? And especially if people aren't there, they feel like, well, I can't go to that training, or I shouldn't attend because I'm not ready to do my lead magnet or whatever. So hindsight's 2020. We're always learning, always tweaking, always getting better. Major changes are going to happen, obviously, for next year. But one of the things that's happening is the trainings, the monthly trainings, are not going to be about a specific skill. Like there definitely will be ones about copy and things like that. But as far as like teaching sales funnels, like that would be really dumb to do that tonight because not everybody's there. So anyway, we live and we learn. And so that's definitely one of the changes that's going to happen. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see. Overview of where we are. So we are starting month 9, which is absolutely crazy. I want you to think about all of the stuff you have done. So I'm talking about from January, like think about all of the stuff that you've done and how crazy far you guys have come, what you still want to do. So for those of you who have launched already, you probably have like, whoa, like total light bulb moments, aha moments of, oh my gosh, like, wow, like now I get what she was saying. Like, cause all that mindset stuff, I can say it, but until you actually go through it, it doesn't really mean anything. And so now you guys, especially Jillian and Bethany, have gone through it. And so, you know, McKenna has paying clients, Nikki has paying clients, and Christy has paying clients. Like people are, you know, you guys are having paying clients now. Like you have a business, you have a viable business. So now where do we want to go? And I think it's really important to, we're going to talk about this a little bit, like nurture your paying clients. Of course, you have the content consistently showing up every day, social media, blogs, emails, all of that. But I still want a plan. I still want to know where you see yourself, not in a year, not in 6 months, but literally in the next, you know, we're just breaking it down 90-day period. So we're at 60 days now. So in the next 2 months, where do you see yourself? What's happened? You know, are we relaunching? Are we doing a free challenge? Are we doing a free Facebook group? Are we doing webinars? Are you going to write a PDF to put in your sales funnel? So there's so many things. And the cool thing is there's no right thing for you, for me. It's all based on your business. So what's right for me isn't going to be right for you, isn't going to be right for Bethany. We're all going to do what works for us. That's why I'm here, is to kind of give you all the ideas and put some ideas in your head and help you kind of hash it all out. So just start to think about what it is left that you still want to do, where you see yourself at the end of this year. So we're talking in the next 2 months, what is your vision, right? So that is super important, but I definitely, again, think in 90-day segments. And I always want you to have a plan. So yes, you want to nurture your paying clients. Yes, you want to do consistent content, but that stuff is the normal now. So what's next? I always want you guys to ask, what's next? What's next? Things to remember. We have the power, right? So we are in charge. We are the boss. We are the CEO. We get to play by the rules. There are rules. We get to decide what we're doing, when we're doing, how we're doing it. This is our choice. So this was our choice to create a business, to be a mompreneur, to live out your passion. And I just want you guys to remember that this is our choice. This is our passion. Like, people would die to wake up every day and get to write a blog or write or coach or do what we do. People are like, gosh, like that is awesome, right? So just remember, the minute it feels like work meaning like the 9 to 5, like the shit you dread when you're like, oh man, I gotta go write an email, or gosh, I really don't want to check into that group today because they're driving me crazy. I need you to assess and figure out why. Not stop it, not quit it, but really just take some time to assess and figure out, why does it feel like work? What is it about writing a blog that feels that I'm pulling teeth? What is it? Is it because my voice is off? Is it because I'm scared to say what I really want to say? What's happening when you're going to do whatever it is that's starting to feel draining and feel like work? And of course, use me, use us, use the group, use the mastermind, because that is, you know, the power of being in a group of like-minded women, is to use them, right? So key questions to ask as we go through this month. So am I showing up every day? Super important, right? You got to be there every single day. There's really not like days off as far as being an entrepreneur goes, especially not in the first year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. What's coming easy for me, right? So is social media just super easy for me? Posting on Facebook, Instagram, Insta stories, Snapchat, is that stuff easy? Is writing blogs easy? Is writing emails easy? Is coaching, is a free Facebook group? What is easy for you at this point in your business? And where are you struggling? So where do you feel like, gosh, I really need to focus on blank, especially for the next, you know, for this month? Like, set yourself a challenge. If you haven't been posting on 2 social media platforms, like that's your challenge for this month, right? So I'm going to show up and I'm going to post on 2 social media platforms every single day. If live is still a struggle for you, like I am going to go live at least once a week. Like, I know I've been backing off of live just because life's crazy, and I've just been like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll just do it tomorrow. And tomorrow comes and I don't do it, and then I do it tomorrow, right? So my challenge is like, I'm doing live like once a week. I have to do it. Can't think of a topic, I'm just gonna get on and just do it, right? Because that's where I'm struggling. So that's obviously where like I need to work, right? I know how powerful it is. It's just a matter of doing it. Is making money at the forefront of my mind. So that's really, really important. So when finances are tough, and I get it, it's hard. But if that's the forefront of your mind, is I just got to make money, I got to make money, I got to make money, everyone's going to see through that, and it's never going to feel fun. It's never going to feel passionate. It's always going to feel stressful and urgent. And that sucks. And you don't want it to be like that. So if that's really at the forefront of your mind, then we definitely need to talk, hash things out, post in the group so we can get kind of a game plan together. Am I helping people? That's a really important question to ask. Like, how do you know you're helping people? Are you getting messages? Are people commenting on your stuff? Are people emailing you? Like, how do you know you're helping people, right? Not thousands of people, just one person. So all you need to do is help at least one person. And do I love what I'm doing? Do you love what you're doing? Do you love your message? Do you love your voice? Do you love when people go, oh my gosh, like your challenge was amazing. Oh my gosh, that email just hit the nail on the head. Like, I don't know what I would do without your blank. Oh my gosh, this lead magnet or this freebie was just so great. Like, I can't even believe this was free, right? That is loving what you're doing. What do you love what you're doing? Even if no one read your blog, do you still love writing it, right? I always ask myself, if no one reads this, do I still need to write it? Absolutely. Of course I have to write it. So I wanted to take a second to go back through some of your applications for Business Beyond Baby because I think it's really cool to see. So these are from like November and December of last year. And I think it's really important to look back on some of this stuff, because I think it really brings it back home. It really brings it back home to what we're doing, why we're doing it, especially when shit gets tough and we feel like, oh my gosh, it's not working and it needs to be faster and blah, 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 right? So I want to be in business for myself and have the freedom to work the way I want, when I want, for the pay I want. I feel that I have a lot to offer, and I've struggled for years to figure out exactly what my purpose is and how I can turn it into a paying job that I would love, would allow me the freedom to work from home and make a living that doesn't feel like a paycheck to paycheck. Now that I'm a mom, I want this even more, to be able to love what I do while being present and be a better mom for my son. I want to be part of Business Beyond Baby because after having my daughter and not taking maternity leave, it's making me wonder why I'm working for someone else that doesn't appreciate the time I spend away from my children. I'm looking into this to gain knowledge on how to make my business a success. Yeah, so crazy, right? Crazy. I want to start my own business. I'm dying to start my own business. I want to live out my passion and be able to make a little money doing it, even if it isn't a lot. I'm looking to help. I'm looking for some help to narrow down what it is I want to do because I have so many ideas. I need to figure out what it is I want to do. I need support and guidance. Being a mom is important to me, but it's equally important for me to take care of myself, right? So creating my own business will lead to a more fulfilling life for me because right now I am doing what I need to do, but it's not exactly what I want to do, right? I have the entrepreneurial itch that I need to scratch. I felt like for a long time I've been meant to start and run my own business, but it just hasn't been practical. This would be a dream come true for me. I know that they don't come easy, but I know it is a dream, right? So isn't this crazy? Like I read this stuff and I just want to cry. Like I'm just like, wow. So I love being a stay-at-home mom, but I know I'm capable of so much more and I have so much more to give. I don't know where to start in terms of building an online business. I know who I am, what I love, and what I have to share. This is the inspiration and education I need to make my dreams become a reality, right? So this stuff is so powerful, guys. I go back and I read this stuff and I'm like, this is it. This stuff that you guys wrote to me is the bottom line, right? So you wanted it so bad in January and you still want it now, but now you're in it. And it's hard, man. It is so hard. You're gonna have days when you want to quit and you want to cry and you have so much fear, but just remember that that's just fear. It's just self-doubt and fear talking to you. And your mind is so powerful. If you've ever had a battle with your weight or anything and you've had a fat day, you know how powerful that is, right? You know how powerful telling yourself you're fat is to the rest of your day, to the rest of your week, to the rest of your month. It will ruin you regardless of what else is happening. If you tell yourself something and you believe it, it's going to run your life. And so if we wake up every day and we tell ourselves what if, and we shouldn't do it, and oh my gosh, oh, what if, I'm scared, and should I do it? Maybe it's not good enough. That's what's going to run us. And we just can't allow it, right? So I want to talk about the bow and the arrow. So this is like kind of equating to our kids, right? So if you're familiar with archery, so you've got a bow and an arrow, right? So we are kind of like the bow, right? And so our job is to kind of shape and make sure the arrow is aligned. If, I'm talking when my husband is a hunter and an archery. So you pull back and you set, and, it takes a lot of strategic planning and patience with how you place the arrow to make sure that it goes. And you can never really be sure how the arrow is going to go. You're not guaranteed that it's going to hit the target, especially in the center. Of course, you're aiming for it to hit the target in the center, but it's not always going to. And so even with the most careful amount of preparation and practice, it's not always going to go. And so this is like with our kids, right? So we pull back, we're the bow, and eventually we have to let it go. We have to let them go. The arrow has to go. And while we want them to be perfect, we want them to hit that bullseye, they're not always going to. Maybe in some ways they're going to, it's going to be bullseye, but there's other places in their life where we just have to let the arrow kind of go, right? And that's really hard for us. And this is so true in our business, right? So we spend so much time. We've spent 9 months kind of fine-tuning that arrow and making sure that it is exactly how we want it. And some of us have been brave enough to pull it back and let it go. And some of us hit a bullseye, and some of us were a little bit outside of where we thought we should have been, right? But the point is that you're going to shoot another arrow. No archer ever goes with one shot and calls it a day. Everybody shoots more arrows, and every arrow is going to take its own path. Every arrow is going to take its own way to the target. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit high, a little bit low, a little bit outside, and sometimes it's going to be a bullseye. But the point is you keep doing it. And the only way you keep doing it, if you've ever done archery, you have to just keep trying and you have to keep practicing. And the business, your business, just like our kids, is going to evolve. And so sometimes it's going to be high, low, whatever. It's going to continually evolve and grow and get better the more you pull back that bow. So I just wanted to use that analogy because it made sense to me. But I won't tell my husband that he has any effect on me. No, so, okay, so let's talk about the comparison trap, because I think this is so real and relevant to where we are right now. So shouldn't it be faster? I'm not doing as much. I'm not making enough. Everyone else's stuff is working, but they got more response, right? So I'm sure now, like, you're starting to see people and you're like, oh, well, look at her Facebook group. Or, oh my gosh, she's already doing blank. And oh my gosh, like, she got 10 people and she got 15. Like, wow. And so all of a sudden, you have all of this stuff showering on you that you're not good enough and you suck and it should be faster. And it's the same like as if you've ever had issues with losing weight or being on a diet, right? So then your neighbor comes over and she's 90 pounds lighter and you're like, what the hell is she doing? And maybe I'll do that too. And all of that, right? So it's just real. It's just how we work as humans. But I want you to know that while you're seeing all of that and you're questioning yourself and having doubts and fear, this is the stuff that I see. And so I want you to take a screenshot of this because this is the stuff that I see as your coach, someone who's been in business a little bit longer than you. I see someone who's taken a big leap. I see someone who is following their dreams. I see someone who has love in their heart and fire in their eyes. I see someone who has created something they love. That's what I see. So when you guys are fear and doubt, and I have all of the same feelings, I go back to this because this to me is what it's all about. Just like I read to you from your applications from Business Beyond Baby, this is the stuff that keeps us going. When we have those moments of fear and self-doubt and no one's signing up for our lead magnet, our challenge, was a bomb, whatever, this is the stuff that at the end of the day that matters, right? It's the stuff that matters. Our kids and our business, right? So think about your kids. I always like to bring it back to our kids because it's just something that we can all relate to, right? So maybe we don't relate to archery and you're probably like, what is she talking about? But okay, so hopefully this will make sense. So let's talk about our kids and our business. So when we set our kids, let's pretend you have your kids, you bring them to the park and whatever, and they run around and they're so excited, right? And so that's kind of how we were at the beginning. Everyone's like so excited and, just glowing with, passion and all of this vision of what we're going to do, right? And so then they go and they play and they fall down and they get back up and they climb, just have that vision in your head of kids, like your kids at the park, right? So they're playing and they fall down and they get back up and, maybe somebody's mean to them and pushes them to the side and then they eventually go down the slide and they're so excited. So they go to do something else, right? So just envision your kids, right? So eventually they're going to get some scrapes and they're going to fall down and, somebody's going to be mean to them, right? That's just life. That's just what happens. But you don't get the scrapes if you don't jump or climb or do anything, right? So the kid who comes home perfectly from the playground probably didn't do much, right? They probably just were on the sidelines kind of watching, right? And that's fine, but they didn't get any scrapes, which is okay, for some people, but that means they really weren't doing, right? So the point here is the action. The scrapes are the proof that they're learning and living forward. And that's the scrapes that we talk about in business where we never fail, right? But we definitely are going to fall down. We're going to learn a lot, but it's proof that every time you fall down, you're going to stand up with new lessons to move you forward. So if your child, if they fall down or they fail doing something, they don't just quit, right? They get better, right? They learn maybe a different way. Maybe they tried to run up the slide and they slid back down and then they realized, oh, well, that's probably not the best way to do it. Maybe I need to walk up the stairs and go down on my butt, right? So they're learning new lessons, simple lessons, but it's just showing us that that's how kids learn and that's how our business learns, right? That's what we do in business. So there's going to be a lot of feelings and what I call kind of seasons of our business. There's the risks, where you join this, you said you were going to do it. That was a big risk. Just saying it out loud, like I'm going to start my own business, starting your business Facebook page, starting a website. That was for a lot of risk, and you're always going to be taking risks, right? There's times when you are going to have to just charge forward. Regardless of kind of what's happening, you have to just keep charging forward. Those of you who have launched know that charging forward is just one of those things that you have to keep doing. Regardless if it's like the worst week of your life, no one's signing up and blah, 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 you have to just charge forward. And then there's times when you have to slow down, because slowing down is just as important as charging forward. Slowing down is essential to reset, get creative, listen to personal development. That stuff's important for your family, right? Nothing's more important than your family. So slowing down is important. Not quitting, not stopping, but slowing down. Slowing down to gather your thoughts, slowing down to not have 75 things in your head at one time, slowing down so you have one thing that's happening in this next month, and that's it, right? So there's a big difference between charging forward and being chaotic versus charging forward and kind of, that compound effect, that snowball of consistency will pay off, and then slowing down when you feel overwhelmed. And then there's times when you're going to want to stop. There's times when you think, you know what, I'm just gonna throw in the towel, right? No one cares, no one will miss me anyway, right? So we have these feelings, and I think it's normal, and I think it's important to just acknowledge that we have them, but then we have to go back to that stuff I read before of why we're doing this, why we're in Business Beyond Baby, right? What are we doing here? Why is our website, why does it matter? Why do we care about the people on our email list? The bottom line is this. We're moms, and our role as parents, as moms, is to show our kids what a good life lived looks like. And that really, to me, strikes a chord. In fact, it made me cry when I was making this slide, where work isn't negative, and to be the light that shines bright on our children and our business. That's our job. And so to me, personally, I can't show my kids what a good life lived looks like if I have to wake up every day and be on someone else's schedule and go to a job that I liked but I didn't love, and not be able to take them places, and not be able to be there when they're sick, and not be able to go to the homeroom, whatever. That to me isn't a good life lived. Not be able to travel, and that stuff isn't to me. And it becomes where work is negative, and work isn't negative, right? Because we're proof that work is positive, and work is helping people, and sharing your dream, and creating something so amazing, right? So I think, to me, this is where kind of the bottom line is, and I just wanted to bring us back to that because I think it's super, super important to remember, especially as we get into this time in our business. So that being said, let's talk about September, right? So where are we? What the hell have we been doing? So in order, this is kind of where we are. So we've got lead magnet, free challenge as anticipation, or just to collect emails. So that has to be done. Everybody has a lead magnet out. We have some free challenges going as an anticipation for something, or just to collect emails. Like Nikki did one just to collect emails, and then she was like, hey, guess what? I want to do it, right? So that has to happen in some way, some form of fashion of that. Launch a product or service. So that can be group coaching, it can be one-on-one, it can be in person, it can be anything, but I want everybody doing something from your website. So Latched and Attached has a coaching program. Nikki Marie Fitness has a one-on-one coaching program, right? Jillian Brittany has a group coaching program. That is amazing. Amazing. I can't even tell you, like, freaks me out. Okay, nurture paying clients and continue content. We talked about that. Focus on authenticity, transparency, and know, like, and trust. So that stuff is never going to go away, and that stuff is the stuff that takes a lot of time, and that's the stuff that the second launch is going to be that much better when that stuff is there, right? So going back to those key questions of, how am I showing up, and what's struggling, and what's working for me? Think about the authenticity piece, the transparency piece, the know, like, and trust. Like, how much are we sharing? How much are people relating? Who is your content bringing to you, right? So are people coming to you that relate to you, or are these just random people who they're not talking back to you, right? So if your email list isn't responding to you, then let's focus on getting some new emails, right? And then plan kind of what's next. I always want you to ask, like, what's next? What's next, right? So even the minute after your launch, I want to know what's next. What do we have? What's next on the agenda? even though we're going to nurture our paying clients, we're going to continue content, I still want to know what is next. So whether it's a new launch, whether it's a free Facebook group, a challenge, you're going to add webinars, you're going to work on a sales funnel, you're going to start doing one-on-one. I want to know what is next, especially in the next 2 months. It's September, October. That can be any of this. Maybe what's next is to launch a lead magnet. It doesn't matter where you are, but I definitely want to know what's next for you in your business. That's so important to always ask what's next, because that means we're taking action and we are moving forward, right? As we talked about the seasons of our business, we always need to be moving forward. And then when you're ready, you have webinars to utilize. That can be like just within your coaching group. It can be for the public to get emails. It can be to sell something. There's so many ways you can use webinars, but they're definitely a way to kind of level up your business. I've given you how to make a slide deck, how to make a webinar, all of that stuff when you're ready, so no stress on that. And then sales funnels. So that's this month is sales funnels, and basically it's just a series of emails that people get. So they sign up for a lead magnet, they get a check-in, they get another email, maybe it's a relevant blog post, and then they get an email where you're going to upsell them into a PDF, one-on-one coaching, a free call. Something it's just like a funnel, right? So they get in there, and the reason they work is because the people are hot. So the minute they sign up for your stuff, they like you. That could be the last time they ever open your email. So we want to get them when they're hot in that funnel, in, maybe 7, 10, 14 days would be the maximum time frame for a funnel. So, and again, everyone's kind of searching for that perfect funnel because that's kind of passive income. And I actually have one that's working, which is kind of amazing, but it's definitely taken me a long time to figure out one that works. I actually asked all of my entrepreneurial friends if anyone had a sales funnel that works, and no one does, which is kind of funny. So just to know, everyone's kind of searching for something to get people to respond, which is why I think it's important to cover it, because it is kind of the holy grail, if you will, of the online space. So, so I don't really want to go too much into that again, because we're not all there. I just want to make sure I hit on kind of where we are for this month as we focus on, where we're going and all of that stuff. All right, so, yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, so the rest of the slide got cut off, so I'll just keep talking. So after sales funnel, we have collaboration posts and Facebook ads. So definitely think about, if you haven't run Facebook ads, definitely time to kind of start doing that, whether it's just for your page or for a free challenge or whatever. I would definitely start, just play around with them and see how you do. And then of course, start thinking about, the alumni option for Business Beyond Baby. That will, open up to you guys end of October, mid-October-ish, for November, December, and then all of 2017. So definitely something to think about as far as where we're headed. Cool. So questions, what do we have as far as questions from you guys? It can be about content, it can be about business stuff, anything goes on this. Was this helpful? What do you think? If you want me to start reading more applications, I'm going to start. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that again to you, but I thought it was pretty cool to do. And just me reading through them, I was like, gosh, because I didn't really know you guys, right? So now I know you. I'm like, oh, I love it. So questions, comments, concerns, anything for me? Okay, cool. So Nikki popped in late, but I have a quick question. I tend to stumble across my words when people ask me what I'm doing. That's so funny because I still do that. I feel like I vomit up my words. So yeah, you just want to focus on that I teach statement. So the I teach women to blah, blah, blah. Go back to that I teach statement and practice saying it out loud, and practice saying if it sounds like what you do, right? So sometimes I'll say like, well, I help moms, blah, 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 you know, like, and then everyone's like, oh, it's just like, you're like a trainer. And I'm like, no, I'm not a trainer, you dumbass. But I didn't say it, right? So definitely go back to the I teach statement and think if it's something that resonates with you still, because remember, we created those like 7 months ago. So go back to it and think, does that really sound like what I do? When people ask me what I do, like, oh, you're just like a mom blogger. I'm like, no, I'm not a fucking mom blogger. Like, leave me alone, right? But it's my problem because I didn't say it right? So definitely go back to the I teach statement and definitely make sure that's kind of refined and it sounds good coming out of your mouth. It's just an elevator pitch. It's just literally if you met someone on the street and they said, oh, what do you do? I run my own business. Cool, what do you do? And then you vomit, right? And so just practice that because it's definitely something that's super powerful. People won't go to your website if you vomit out like what you're doing, right? I do it all the time. Trent's like, did you really just say that? I'm like, yeah, I totally said that. So I wish I could tell you it gets easier, but mine doesn't. It hasn't yet. But okay, cool. Bethany, I've been feeling like my emails are really a struggle lately. They're hard for me to write and I don't get many responses. I need to work on that. So Bethany, I definitely think just writing in real life time is super important. So, you know, whether you're going on vacation or you went to Disney or I think that stuff's really important to write about. Go back to that list of struggles, right? So that list of struggles when they first signed up, go back to what they said their number one struggle was and write on that. So pick one of those struggles and write. So like I could pick time, motivation, accountability, workouts, budget, all of those things are like what I hear all day long. So I could go back to that. When I'm stuck, I go back to that. When you're stuck, like when I'm stuck, I go to a recipe, I go to a workout because those are super easy. People love them, people open them. So when I'm stuck, I do that. Something else you could do would be doing like a theme, like so like Friday favorites or whatever, like something Milk Monday, not really, but like something like that. So it's you're kind of putting yourself on the hook to write an email every week on the same day, just for like a month or two to get you out of the funk, to get you back to writing emails to people expecting them, and to just get the content flowing. So sometimes a theme like that is really, really helpful, even on the blog too, right? So sometimes I'll do like workout, whatever, like I did workout Wednesday because I was like, I have nothing to write. I don't feel like saying anything. And that really helped me kind of get out of the rut. And then I just stopped them and I just went back to my regular stuff. But sometimes I do that because it just gets, I don't know, and think about like where you want to go next, right? So always, the reason we always need to have a plan is because our content kind of always has to be geared to that. So for example, I have a holiday hustle challenge that starts Thanksgiving through Christmas Eve. So you better believe October, I'm going to write a lot about working out. I'm going to talk a lot about why we as moms need to work out and blah, 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 because I need them to kind of be anticipated for that challenge that's coming up, right? So when I'm doing Business Beyond Baby, I'm going to talk more about like business stuff. And then when I'm doing Smoothie Challenge, I'm going to talk more about nutrition, protein, and all of that stuff. So that's why having what's next is super important so that you're not like, oh shit, like I'm supposed to be launching this in 3 weeks and I haven't even mentioned anything, right? So we always want to be priming people for kind of like what's next just by the content. Jill Coleman does this very, very well because she sells a lot of stuff now. So you'll notice she'll switch from like exercise to boop, business because she's getting ready to do business. And then she'll go, okay, back, I'm going to go nutrition because she's going to launch something that way. So she's very, very strategic in her content. She's definitely someone really good to watch with that. Hopefully that helped. Any other questions? You guys are killing it. Even if you don't think so, I want you to just look at that screenshot of what I see. And so this month, it was going to just kind of be everybody working at their own pace. Make sure you booked your coaching calls. If you have that, you know, I think everyone has them. So definitely book those if we haven't chatted for a while. And yeah, so we can hash out some stuff. But any other questions you guys have, take your time on this month. Don't even look at it if you're not ready. There's no point, right? But I would love to see like your plan for the next 60 days or so in the Facebook group. So we can all kind of, if you know, just a way to keep each other accountable, we can hash out stuff, decide if that's kind of the best plan of action, but I would love to see that stuff in the Facebook group when you're ready. Good. Did this help anyone? Is this better than like training on a skill, or do you like a skill better? Thanks, Bethany. Hopefully it was helpful. And we will have our Zoom mastermind coming up as well on the 21st. So that will be, you know, where we just kind of chat and have, you know, like what I'm calling office hours or whatever. So we just kind of chat, mastermind, get ideas out. So we'll have that coming up too. Awesome. Thank you, Nikki. Cool. Okay. So, okay, good. Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I think. I was just writing out I was just thinking next year, like I was going to do like a copy one, a lead magnet one, like the skill stuff for the beginning. But then I think once you hit, you know, 6 months, the mindset stuff just takes over because that's where you are, right? So, yeah, so I was thinking this stuff is better because if I just went over sales funnels, you'd be like, really? Why are we talking about this? So I think that stuff's important too. This stuff is more important as a live training, and that stuff you can always watch, right? You can always watch, you can always download all that stuff. And then you can always ask in the Facebook group. So cool. I'm glad you guys liked it. Awesome. All right. Any other questions for me? No. Okay, cool. Thank you for being on and taking some time out of your evening to spend with me and just chat. I think this stuff is like really good to just go over, you know, if nothing else, we go over it once a month and it kind of gets you hopefully rejuvenated and realizing that you're normal and you have normal feelings and you're crying and we're all crying and it's okay. But just know that you guys are so far along, so much farther along than I ever was, and just keep going, right? It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but you're so far on your way to doing it that you really have no choice than to just keep doing it, right? Like you have no other choice than to continue and making this your dream, making yourself fulfilled, doing it for your kids, whatever your big reason why, you really have no choice at this point. So, okay, cool. All right, so I'm heading off. Definitely post in the Facebook group if you have anything else, questions, comments, concerns, anything. Post them in the Facebook group and I will be there for you to answer. All right, thanks guys so much. Have a great night. I will talk to you soon.